In this video, I will be talking about some different practice strategies that will hopefully take you to a higher level of performance. Sometimes, as educators, we forget that our students might not know how to practice, other than to play the same passage over and over, or to run their etudes from beginning to end over and over. Many times we send them into the practice room and tell them to practice without any other guidance. It is up to us, as their teachers, to provide different strategies and to work with our students on how to manage time and how to tackle the weekly or semester long assignments. Here are some general guidelines. Number one on the list, set short-term and long-term goals. Your short-term goals will help to keep you on track, and knowing what you want to accomplish in each practice session can also help you achieve your long-term goals quicker. Make sure you make your goals known to your friends, colleagues, family, and teachers. This will make you more accountable. If everyone knows your goals, you will work harder to achieve them, and you will have a support system, which is absolutely crucial. Write down your goals and post them all over your house so you can always be reminded of what needs to be done. Ask yourself the following questions. How will others feel about me if I don't achieve my goals? How will I feel about myself if I don't achieve my goals? Or, how will others feel about me when I do achieve my goals? How will I feel about myself when I do achieve my goals? I think these are great questions to help keep you motivated in the long run. Pre-plan and take the necessary steps to meet your goals. Use a practice log. Not only can you keep track of your daily and weekly practice time, but this will also help you to evaluate each session and gauge what you need to focus on during your next trip to the practice room. I highly recommend using a practice journal because there are days when you might not have an opportunity to practice, or you might not be able to work on each piece every day. Keeping a log will help you to remember what you did in each session so that you don't just walk into the practice room and mindlessly go through each piece without a plan of attack. I use this practice journal from Liquid Drum. This journal is awesome. I used this when I was preparing for my showcase concert at PASIC, and it really helped me to keep my practice sessions organized and keep me on track leading up to the concert. Next on the list is slower is faster. Learn it correctly the first time so you don't have to unlearn it to relearn it. All of us are faced with time constraints, and because of this, sometimes our practice sessions turn into note cramming sessions where we try to learn as many notes as possible in a short period of time, or we play through our recital pieces up to tempo over and over. So our practice sessions are spent performing instead of practicing. Not only is this detrimental to the hands, but it can also be harmful to the overall performance in recital situations, because it actually ingrains mistakes. This type of practicing forces you to rely solely on muscle memory and does more harm than good. So many of us do this. It's only natural. Everybody wants the piece to sound the way it did the first time they heard it. We all want to sound good. But more than that, we want everybody else to hear us sounding good through the practice room doors. The key is to leave your ego at the door. Forget about what everyone else thinks. It's called a practice room for a reason, not a performance room. Don't get me wrong. We need to get repetitions in, but try to incorporate different practice techniques to avoid relying just on muscle memory. Why? Why do we need to do this? What happens when you get on stage? Most of us, including myself, get a little bit nervous. Our heart rate goes up, our hands get a little bit sweaty, and your muscles tighten up. Now, at that moment, everything feels different than it did in the practice room, and your muscle memory is the first thing to go when you get nervous. Practicing at really painfully slow tempos forces you to concentrate on each note, as well as focusing on technical issues, body positioning, sound quality, musical gestures. When you play up to tempo, it's really difficult to concentrate on all of those things at once. Practicing at slow tempos is an excellent tool for gaining an overall knowledge of the piece and for improving your memorization skills. Slow practice should take place every day, not just in the note learning process. You can use a metronome to increase the tempo very gradually when working sections up to performance speed. Another strategy is what is commonly called the penny game, or as I like to call it, the 10 stages of torture. Take a short passage, maybe a small chunk of a piece, and start at half tempo. You have to get it right 10 times in a row before you can increase the metronome speed. This is a great strategy because you force yourself to think about each note at the slower tempos, and by the time you've worked it up to tempo, you've played it correctly hundreds of times, getting those reps in and ingraining your muscle memory. Next on the list is prioritizing your practice sessions. Some things need more practice than others. Take some time and read through the entire piece or etude, going as slow as you need to go. Notice what sections will take longer to work up. Then go back and color code your music. Green sections are spots that you can already play without too much trouble. Red sections are spots that you can't play, and you'll need to practice those every day. Yellow sections are somewhere in the middle, but not as troublesome as the red. The goal is to start with the red sections, since they're going to take you longer to learn. Really good example of this is Yellow After the Rain by Mitchell Peters. It's the first piece that I ever played on marimba, and like most people, I started at the beginning and worked my way to the end. By the time I got to the block chord section at the end, I only had about a week left to learn the piece. So I got to the hardest section of the piece last. What should have happened was I should have started with the block chord section, then went over to the 16th note section permutations in the middle, and then worked my way to the beginning of the piece. So I hope that these suggestions will help. Good luck and happy practicing.